how great it is to be an Ohio State fan right now. The Big Ten title game on Saturday, and today, the early signing period has begun. Boy, does college football like the chaos. Buckeyes are joining the Brotherhood. They are signing up to be a part of something special. We know how special it is. They know how special it is. So we want to break down the 2026 class as it stands. A lot can happen, but this is where it's at in the moment right now without flips and whatnot, which you can be sure to stay tuned with us here on the Ohio State Football Report. If something does happen, we will update you there. But if you know another Buckeye fan, if you want to get them the latest information, if you want to fill them in on what's going on with Ohio State football, share this video with them, share it on your social media platforms, hit that link and share right now. So this is where the Buckeyes are at nationally, recruiting-wise. And I've said many times, if you follow us here on the Ohio State Football Report, they were at 9. They were losing recruits. They didn't know how they wanted to handle their money. They have recovered very, very well to up themselves to that number 5 spot as of right now. Could change by the end of the early signing period. Again, that goes from Wednesday to Friday. So guys can flip, guys can sign, not sign, wait till February. That's the other signing day, national signing day there. So right now the Buckeyes are at 5 with 28 commits. Breaking it down a little bit, they have the 1 5-star. That is Chris Henry Jr., who we will talk about in just a second. 17 4-stars, which they've racked up more as of late, and some 3-stars, which I know you guys don't like talking 3-stars, but I always believe the Buckeyes development system, we have seen what it can do for 3-stars. We believe it will do the same for these 3-stars. So, as it stands, grade Ohio State's 2026 recruiting class, 5th in the country. As I said, 1 5-star, bunch of 4-stars, couple more 3-stars. Give it an A if you want. Otherwise, give it a different grade, A, B, C, D, or F. 1 quarterback in this class, Luke Fahey. Look, we thought he would get better rankings-wise. He had a great senior season. We filled you in on his stats and big games and things like that. Hasn't shook that 3-star rating. Continues to drop nationally. Continues to drop quarterback-wise. Not a ton to say there. I'll just leave it at, if the Buckeyes believe in Luke Fahey, I'll trust them. He is their only quarterback in this 2026 class. Now, to protect Fahey or Tavian St. Clair or whoever the Buckeyes want to, boy, did they build a class of O linemen. Sam Greer, Akron, Hoban, 4-star. That's a great example of Ben locked in with the Buckeyes. Maxwell Riley will pair very nicely with Sam Greer. Those are the 2 big dogs, gems of this offensive line class. Then the 3-stars right behind them, Tucker Smith, Landry Brede, who flipped from NC State, and then Mason Wilhelm, whose dad, Matt Wilhelm, was on that early 2000s national title team. Mason Wilhelm, a great story because he's one of those situations where he was committed to North Carolina, but wanted to be a Buckeye. The coaches were up front with him and said, this is what you need to do. He did that. He is a Buckeye. So good for Matt Wilhelm on that front. To the wide receivers, sticking on offense, Chris Henry Jr., the number 1 receiver in this class, nationally number 10. Look, this is your 1 5-star, and obviously all the rumors circulating right now about Oregon and other schools trying to flip him. We'll get to that in a second. Same for Kayden Dixon-Wyatt, his teammate. They are trying to flip him, whether it be USC or some other schools. They are trying to get him to join and money and playing time. And this age of college football, they're trying to flip him. Jerquaden Guilford, this is a good receiver class. Guilford, Kayden Dixon-Wyatt, I think they're interchangeable, which will make the blow less if those guys, if one happens to leave or flip or whatnot. Jaeden Ricketts, we've talked about him looking at West Virginia towards the finish here, so we got to keep an eye on him. And then the only 3-star in this group, Brock Boyd, for Ohio State's receiving core. Before we get into the exact quotes, I want a prediction. You've heard the rumors. Do you think the Buckeyes can keep both Kayden Dixon-Wyatt and Chris Henry Jr.? If you think they're both going to be Buckeyes, teammates at Mater Dei in California, soon to be Buckeyes, type Y for yes. Or if you think one of them, at least one of them, is going to flip, type N for no. Gotten ton predictions on these 2 flipping, changing, so on and so forth. Tom Loy of 247 Sports. Chris Henry Jr., he feels how I feel and what we've seen. Nothing has changed here, but we're keeping a close eye on Oregon. Some believe that there isn't much smoke, but Oregon is still in it. Again, that's Nike money, my friends. Throwing that at Chris Henry Jr. late. Maybe Chris Henry Jr. wants more Buckeye money. Jeremiah Smith did the same thing here, guys. It's not uncommon. He did it with Miami and Ohio State, so we'll keep an eye, especially on Chris Henry Jr. and Kayden Dixon-Wyatt on this period. Oregon and USC, the comment from Tom Loy here, continue to battle for another Ohio State receiver commit. The Ducks and Trojans have been relentless. Nothing is over until pen hits paper. There's growing optimism from Los Angeles. Dixon-Wyatt has the green light if he wants to be a Trojan, which would fulfill a lifelong dream for him. So again, those are the two guys to really, really keep an eye on. Ricketts did announce with an Ohio State graphic that he'll have signing tomorrow morning. And Jerquaden Guilford, he put out the Ohio State social media signing, going to be a Buckeye graphic too. So those guys kind of out of danger. I think Kayden Dixon-Wyatt is definitely like the guy to watch in this situation. Your two running backs, Legend Bay, listed as an athlete. Comparisons to Curtis Samuel, sweet name, right? Legend Bay. Favour Akih, that's a 1-2 punch you love. We already have a stacked young running back room. These guys are going to be really, really good additions for the Buckeyes, and they sought after some other guys too, but I think they're happy with the two running backs they're going to end up with, unless they get a last-minute flip, but I think they're very happy Carlos Lachlan snagging these two guys. An Ohio kid at that tight end position, the one and only as of right now, Nick Lautar from Lebanon, Ohio. Buckeyes, again, are young and stacked at wide receiver and have done a good job getting transfer portal guys there, but this will be a guy getting into their system. Before we continue, this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. It is the holiday season, the best time of year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoffs, playoff pushes. It is all happening at once, and while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right, Prize Picks. Simple to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in. Good example of a 3-player stat projection. That connection between Dak Prescott and George Pickens, I want to capitalize. I go more on Dak's 265.5 passing yards and more on George Pickens' 77.5 receiving yards. And then Jahmyr Gibbs had an off week last week. History shows that means he bounces back this week more on his 74.5 rushing yards. New feature alert for Prize Picks. They now have early payouts. So if your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Prize Picks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. They offer Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Timmons has quickly cemented himself as the Buckeyes' best member of their new and electric secondary. They put together a good group here. His dad, Lawrence Timmons, had gone to Florida State. Jay was gonna. He flips to the Buckeyes. Blaine Bradford is next. He was a 5-star for a minute. The Buckeyes still have high hopes for Blaine Bradford. An interesting senior year. They're just hoping to get him in the building and get him going. Jordan Thomas is one of the top secondary players in the state of New Jersey. Simeon Caldwell has been a Buckeye for a minute. I salute him for that. And Khmari Bing flipped from Maryland to be a Buckeye. He's upgraded to a 4-star. He wants to play safety for Ohio State. Really, really good secondary group here. And not a lot of rumors about these guys leaving, going somewhere, looking at somewhere else. This is a really good group that Coach Tim Walton has gathered, gets together, and will coach up for the future of Ohio State. Now, the D-line, coached by Larry Johnson, recruited by Larry Johnson, Ryan Day and company, starts with Khary Wilder. Talk about a riser. Another guy that was a defensive lineman. Numbers were okay, good, not great. All of a sudden now he's got that overall ranking of 42, the number 2 edge. Great stuff from Khary Wilder and a good get on the defensive line for Ohio State. Then they just started racking names up on the defensive line, whether it be flips or good recruiting. Damari Simeon has been there for a minute in this group. They flipped Emanuel Ruffin from Colorado. As I said, building this group. They flipped Dre Quinn from Clemson. Again, Ruffin and Quinn were just good guys that when the coaching stuff got crazy, they flipped them. Same with Darryus McKinley, LSU. Things got chaotic. They got him. And then Jamir Perez. What can go wrong if you take a kid from Cleveland Glenville? The Buckeyes have seen the benefits of that for years. They have assembled a really electric group on this defensive line. Again, not too many 5-stars, but they put the effort in at other positions to stack up, and that's what has them as a top 5 recruiting class. So, my guy Juju, he's excited to see Legend Bay. Let me know down below, which of these recruits are you most excited to see? My personal favorite right now, Cincere Johnson. No pressure, but this Cleveland Glenville product being compared to Arvell Reese, not just because they went to the same high school, style of play, edge, linebacker, can play both. Can't wait to get Cincere Johnson in the building so we can fill that Arvell Reese spot and get him going. Again, shout out Cleveland Glenville. CJ Sanna has had some great comparisons to past Ohio State linebackers. A lot of the media that have gotten to talk with him and see things from him are excited there. And Braxton Rembert, got to keep an eye here. This is a lengthy, tall linebacker. Laurinaitis wanted him, so I trust him there. I think James Laurinaitis sees another Sonny Styles with that length, athleticism, size, so on and so forth. So you got 3 solid linebackers to replace the 2 guys that you're going to leave in Styles and Reese. You're going to have to, move on and move so forth. So those are your 2026 recruits. As of right now, again, a lot can happen once this signing period opens. And I know you guys are wondering, what about guys they want to flip? What about guys we've been talking about for weeks? CJ Brona, that was a big name, a 4-star corner who was looking at the Buckeyes for a minute. He told Hayes Fawcett of Rivals and On3 that he's going to go with Florida. He's going to sign with Florida. Did just want to give you guys that update there. And Kaden Gebhardt, that's a guy that a lot of people are still crystal balling, predicting he will flip to Ohio State on the big day or over those few days that he's going to become a Buckeye. So there is still flip watch a little bit for Ohio State, not just to lose. I know we're nervous about Chris Henry and Kayden Dixon-Wyatt, but for these 2 guys here, we're keeping an eye on them as well. Again, with Brona, it seems as though he told Hayes Fawcett he will go with Florida after they finally found a head coach. A lot going on, both with recruiting, which we will keep you up to date on, our watch party coming up for the Big Ten title game. Everything Ohio State football, you can get it right here when you click that sub button.